Welcome to another episode of the Pit Walk down here at the Ben Motorsport Park for IPRA South Australia. And I'm joined today by Luke with his Renault Clio X85 Cup car. Tell me a bit about the car, Luke.
Well, thanks for having me on here. So, just to give you a bit of history of the car, it's a 2010 X85 Clio Cup car, which was built by Alpine in the UK, specifically for their Clio Cup series. So there was about 400 made, and this is one of 3 here in Australia. It was originally imported in 2010 by its previous owner and raced through multiple Bathursts, Phillip Islands, and some other super sprints. And then it was obviously advertised, and we sort of come back through and had a look at it, and went across the interstate and saw it, and just fell in love with the car and for what the package is, and sort of handed the money over.
What actually goes into making it a Renault Clio Cup rather than a Renault that was available for sale here in Australia?
So this one was based on the 197 chassis. So it's a standard F4R naturally aspirated 205 brake horsepower engine. The different things is obviously this is left-hand drive. It runs a different style mechanical gearbox diff in it, so it's quite grippy when you're coming out of corners, and it's using a SATEV 6-speed sequential gearbox. So that's why it has to be on the left-hand side, and a lot of the UK circuits are actually anti-clockwise compared to clockwise that we have over here mainly.
Now this is a bit different to a lot of IPRA and generally grassroots motorsport cars, because it's actually a factory built race car. So from a driver's point of view and an owner's point of view, what does that actually translate to for you guys?
So it just gives us more reliability being a factory built race car. A lot of the times when you have a standard production car, you're dealing with heavier cars, different brakes, that kind of thing. However, this, because it was specifically made for racing, they pulled pretty well everything out of it to ensure that it complies with their regulations. The Cup series is almost the same as the Toyota 86 Scholarship Series. They are heavily regulated, how this car was, down to nuts and bolts, weights, suspension, tyre pressures, everything.
Position 4 on the grid, and Wharton-Mills is coming up as well, 4 wide as they head down to Redgate. Wharton-Mills is going for the big burn up round the outside, and he's past Bushell, and he's passing Rivet. Oh, but they're contact! And he came onto.
You're not governed by the same rules anymore, so what's next for the little Clio?
The next for the Clio is obviously, because it is a factory built car, there's some specifications that we have to comply with rebuilding of the engine, gearbox. So we're looking at doing that at the end of the year. We'll get about 10,000 Ks out of the engine, so hopefully we can pull it apart, put in some new internals through, get a little bit more horsepower. So we're thinking sort of we can aim for the 230, 240 horsepower, which will be comfortable in this. We should be able to gain at least a couple of seconds on the track.
You've had your first race in IPRA this weekend. What's it like going from sort of sprints and time attack, I suppose, style events into door-to-door racing?
So the super sprints, we run with that with Hyperdrive and Togay Alliance last year. That's a very family-orientated racing. Everyone's got so much different, qualities in how they race and the experience. So it's good to learn from those different drivers. There's a big range of cars too. So it's fast, slow, and then some people are good in the straights. So just learning from that, just giving the ability to sort of do this. And being the first race, got pushed around a little bit, but that's just sort of trying to give them room. Plus being left-hand drive, it's a little bit difficult to see out the passenger sort of window to see if somebody's coming up on you to, don't want to cut them off.
IPRA is an interesting series because we've got everything here from sort of 200 horsepower Renault up to like a probably 500 or 600 horsepower Monaro. Is it interesting trying to battle in a pack with such a various type of car?
Yeah, well, the benefits of having a lower horsepower car is you can get a lot of drive out of the corner where you're not excessively spinning the wheels. You know, with a lot of the big cars, they've just got a lot of wheel spin and they're really drifting around the corner and they're losing speed. So I'm able to sort of really get on the gas a lot faster and that gives me more drive out of the corner and I can catch them up a lot quicker. And then obviously I just don't have the legs on the main straight and they just, you know, almost slap me on the straight. So, but that's racing. Yeah, so I did a passenger day last weekend at Malala for my sponsors, and obviously took some people around for some joy rides.
It's not every day people get to jump into a race car, so it's pretty cool taking people out for a lap and sort of, you know.
It is. You really have to gauge the person because being a left-hand drive car, they're actually sitting on the right side, so it's a bit daunting. I think having a full race setup, cages, harnesses, and people are a bit more relaxed than more of a production car where you're just relying on a seatbelt to sort of hold you in. But you can see the colour of their knuckles quite quickly if they're enjoying it, and I usually try and sort of give a thumbs up if the person's okay.
What's your sort of background with motorsport and all that type of thing? Like,
so I've always been into motorsport since a young age. You know, being with my father out doing sprint car racing, drag racing, being heavily involved in that. We've also done a lot with jet sprint boats. You know, when I was a child, going to Adelaide International every second weekend, I was able to walk around the pits and get old spark plugs and clutch plates from cars, and you know, go and give it to Dad as, you know, he'd sort of put it down there in his bag and go and collect the old cans and put them on your feet and, you know, just old stuff like that. So yeah, that real grassroots racing that I was involved in, you know, when I was a child was really good. There's a lot of memories from it.
yeah, and it gets you then, right? Like, it gets you when you're young, it gets you when you're keen, and you get, you know, get into your P's and you start getting involved in that type of stuff.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, being with Dad, I was able to go out to a car yard and buy my first car and, you know, explain to him all the modifications that I wanted to do, and then all of a sudden, you know, getting a police officer knock on the door saying your son's been doing something wrong. So, you know, that's part and parcel, and, you know, him understanding, you know, what he was like as a kid, and then, you know, understanding how I was. So it was a good transition into the motorsport side of it. You know, there's a lot of people that are quite scared and, you know, don't really like it, and that's up to them. But being able to have that guidance was really good.
It's definitely something that's in the blood. So thanks heaps for having a chat to us here, Luke. It's really good to have a look around this little Renault and see that level of quality that comes from a proper team like Alpine buying behind a car.
Yep.
Wish you all the best with IPRA, wish you all the best with the Renault, and have a great day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
I think it must be lunchtime.
It's coming up to